thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is the NewsHour Special Edition, viewers, and I'm Heena Gambhir. Members of India's majority, Hindus, hounded and targeted and forced to flee from their homes. This is not hearsay. There are videos, there are testimonies, some of them you just heard, of victims and ground reports by journalists narrating why Hindu families in West Bengal's Murshidabad continue to live in fear. Distrust in Mamata Banerjee government or the state police is palpable among these victims. They want the BSF, a central paramilitary force, to stand guard for their safety. The fact that the state chief minister, Mamata Banerjee, hasn't visited the relief camps they have been forced to live in is strengthening this distrust. Visits by the West Bengal Governor, the National Commission for Women or NCW, and the NHRC teams have done little to dismantle the state of fear among the victims of violence and hate. With no convincing assurance of safety coming for the future, they aren't sure when will they return to their homes. And then there has been yet another very big development, perhaps underlining why the victims cannot trust the state government, why their distrust is growing exponentially. We'll come to that. But viewers, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, to deflect the blame, chose to bring in the foreign hand theory. She said violence and mayhem was unleashed by outsiders from across the border. Listen into what she said 3 days ago, blaming outsiders for the violence.
কালকে আমি একটা এএনআই টুইট দেখলাম, হোম মিনিস্ট্রি সোর্সকে কোট করে বলেছে এরকম করেই ওরা দেয়, তাকে আমি দোষ দিচ্ছি না। इसमें बांग्लादेश का हाथ है, अगर हाथ है तो इसको जमींदारी तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का है कि बीएसएफ बॉर्डर संभालते हैं, हम नहीं संभालते हैं।
Now coming to the big development, Mamata's own cops have punctured large gaping holes in the foreign hand or the Bangladeshi handiwork theory. A political fakery lies exposed. How? We don't need to go far. Local youths gathered in parts of Murshidabad and resorted to violent attacks. No, it's not the TMC's opposition which is saying all of this. This is the finding of a report prepared by West Bengal police. The police which reports to Mamata Banerjee. But how did the West Bengal police contradict the state chief minister? I won't say it's conscience catching up. It's more because the police could not have indulged in fakery in courts. It is a report which the Calcutta High Court had demanded. Let's dive deeper into this report. This report says large crowds gathered at Shamsherganj and Sajur Mod area of Murshidabad. The unruly crowd pelted stones and petrol bombs on the cops. Several police personnel were injured. The mob tried to vandalize homes of Hindu families. I repeat, the mob tried to vandalize homes of Hindu families. The fear and distrust has spurred the BJP. The party says Mamata Banerjee's lies have been exposed by the Bengal police and her attempt to shield rioters have failed. But still, the TMC is not changing political gears. It is still sticking to the outsiders involved claim, with Kunal Ghosh asserting that outsiders were brought in to stoke violence and to defame the state of Bengal. Listen in.
ममता बनर्जी और उनकी पार्टी की तरफ से बार बार बोला गया कि बाहर वाले थे, बाहर के लोग थे। लोकल्स लोग बोल रहे कि नहीं, बाहर वाले नहीं थे, आजू बाजू के लोग थे। ये ममता बनर्जी की पुलिस प्रूफ कर रही है कि ममता बनर्जी झूठ बोल रही है।
ममता बनर्जी और तृणमूल कांग्रेस लगातार दंगाइयों को बचाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। कभी कहते हैं कि ये दंगा बाहरी लोगों ने किया, सागरिका घोष कहती है बिहारियों ने किया, पर अब वेस्ट बंगाल की पुलिस ने सारा कच्चा चिट्ठा सामने कर दिया है। उन्होंने बताया कि किस प्रकार से जो हमले हुए वो हमले बाहरी लोगों ने नहीं बल्कि वहीं के लोकल यूथ ने, लोकल लोगों ने किए।
वॉकऑफ बिल के ऊपर जो एजिटेशन था उसको फायदा उठा के वो बाहर से कॉन्स्पिरेसी था, बाहर से बॉर्डर के उस पार से ये एलिगेशन आ रहा है, हमने प्रूफ डिमांड किया है, आकर वो हिंसा, वो गोलमाल बना दिया बंगाल को डिफेम करने के लिए। यही तो हम लोग कहना चाहते हैं।
So the questions we ask tonight: can victims of attacks expect justice if Bengal's ruling TMC sticks to the outsider theory? Or is it a plot to get just a few more votes? That's the debate on the NewsHour on this Saturday, the special edition. And joining us on the debate are my guests. We have Sanju Verma, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, who is a political analyst, and Professor Manojit Mondal, who is a political analyst as well. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us here on Times Now. Professor Manojit Mondal, let me begin this debate with you. I want to ask you, can victims of attacks really expect justice if Bengal's ruling TMC sticks to this outsider theory? I have the report of the Bengal police in front of me, and it clearly mentions large number of crowd, approximately 4,000 to 5,000 locals. They were behind the violence that took place in Murshidabad.
First of all, when you read about large crowd attacking Hindu homes, did you find this, the mentioning of the religion in that report?
Yes.
This is your own invention.
No,
I have also read the report.
One second. It's mentioned.
No.
I don't think you have read the report. Okay. One second, Professor Manojit Mondal, before you answer, one second, Professor Manojit Mondal, 1 second. You asked me a question, and I will respond to that, and then I will give you time to make your opening remarks. The report, it's in my hand. It says, on the very next day, 12th April, an information received that one agitated mob gathered near a masjid tried to vandalize some houses of Hindu families in Goshpada under Shamsherganj police station. On receiving such information, Deputy SP Traffic and additional SP Rural Malda immediately moved to the spot and tried to neutralize the situation, and then they were targeted. So this report mentions that Hindus were targeted. Now answer.
This report, no. This report did not say, but they neutralized. Now you are reading the right report. The situation was neutralized. Things were happening from 8th of April. Things were happening from 8th of April, right? Things were happening from 8th of April, and the maximum devastation took place last Friday. That was on 11th of April, right? By the time 11th April came in, the police had already taken help of the BSF. That was on record from the ADG Law and Order, West Bengal. Please go into that also. Now come to the point about outsider. What Mamata was saying based on a tweet from NIA. Right? You understand Hindi, I guess. Mamata categorically stated ANI, saying that, and I have also debated on this particular issue on a different channel, who have accessed some report from the Minister of Home Affairs saying that some Bangladeshi radicals have also entered this particular place. Do you mean to say that the MHA report is wrong? Or do you mean to say that the whole narrative
report that the Bengal police has prepared is incorrect?
No, hang on.
Professor Manojit Mondal, is that what you're saying?
Listen, I come to this. Hang on. I am asking this question to you. Do you mean to say that the Home Ministry reports again and again for the last many years saying that infiltration is taking place in this part of Bengal is all wrong and rubbish? And even in this particular case, there is a categorical report from the Home Ministry, and sources are saying that that report is also meaning some Bangladeshi radicals have entered. And please remember, none of the police report is saying the nature of the crowd. Number of the crowd, fine. The nature of the crowd. We have got the information that out of the 220 people arrested in this particular incident, at least over 150 are non-Bengalis. They are not speaking Bengali language.
Okay. Sanju Verma wants to respond to what you've said. Sanju Verma.
The people from outside
Thank you.
definitely...
Heena, I heard Mr. Mondal very carefully. I thought Mr. Mondal is erudite, but I'm surprised he got confused between ANI and NIA. But be that as it may, let's stick to the core issue here. First and foremost, Heena, let me make one thing very, very clear to you. Mamata Banerjee, as the Chief Minister of West Bengal, has completely failed. Mamata Banerjee, as the Home Minister of West Bengal, has absolutely failed. Mamata Banerjee should resign. यदि इनसे वेस्ट बंगाल संभाला नहीं जाता, इस्तीफा दो, त्याग पत्र दो. And I will tell you something. You know, Mamata Banerjee has this typical attitude. Rather than taking responsibility, rather than saying, I am willing to be held accountable, her modus operandi is always find somebody else who can be the scapegoat. And in recent times, BSF is her pet scapegoat. But I'll tell you what, Heena. 2016 Malda riots, Mamata Banerjee said, हुआ तो हुआ, मैंने तो कुछ नहीं किया. 2017 भदौरिया riots, Mamata Banerjee said, हुआ तो हुआ, मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है. 2018 आसनसोल riots, Mamata Banerjee said, हुआ तो हुआ, मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है. 2019 जादवपुर riots, Mamata Banerjee said, हुआ तो हुआ, मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है. 2021 सीता कुलची riots, Mamata Banerjee yet again said, हुआ तो हुआ, मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है. And Heena, 2022 the horrifying Birbhum riots, Mamata Banerjee again blamed the BSF, saying हुआ तो हुआ, मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है. Later on it was found Amarul Hussain, a TMC leader, was responsible for the Birbhum massacre. And guess what, Heena? In 2023 Panchayat poll violence, again Mamata Banerjee said हुआ तो हुआ, मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है. And now in 2025 it is the same refrain from Mamata Banerjee. मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं है, मेरी गलती नहीं है, BSF को जिम्मेदार ठहराओ. But I will very quickly just tell you in 20 seconds, Heena, what the Kolkata High Court said. Two-judge bench of Justice Somen Sen and Raja Basu Chaudhary, they said three very important things to Mamata Banerjee. And guess what? Mamata Banerjee consumed Fevicol in wholesale. She had no response to any of the pertinent queries raised by the Kolkata High Court. First, they asked her, why is it that you are not giving operational freedom to BSF? Second, how is it that 10,000 people gathered at the PWD grounds in Murshidabad and the entire police constabulary was caught napping? And third, they asked her, if you are saying that violence was likely going to happen, you know, on the 10th or 11th after the Friday prayers, why is it that you did not requisition for central forces?
Yes.
And the final point they told her, why is it that you are not willing to rehabilitate the victims of Malda and Murshidabad? Mamata Banerjee का अभी तक जवाब नहीं आया. कोलकाता हाई कोर्ट ने जमकर फटकार लगाई है. You should be ashamed, Professor Mondal, sitting and giving a clean chit to Mamata Didi. You're not a political analyst. You're a TMC Darbari.
Professor Manojit Mandal wants to respond, but before that, Professor Manojit Mandal, you were still sticking to the outsider theory. By the way, the report mentions a huge number of crowd, about 4,000 to 5,000 local youths started gathering at Sajur Mode from adjoining areas to protest on Waqf Amendment Act 2025. This is what the Bengal police officials have written in the report for the Calcutta High Court. Now, please quickly respond, then I'll go across to my other guests.
That was on 8th and I think you will give me the indulgence of not disturbing me like you did not do with your friend.
Sir, I did not disturb you earlier also. I gave you ample time to make your point.
Please.
It is just that when you raised a few questions, it was my duty to present some facts. Because I believe you were not aware of the facts that Hindus were indeed targeted, something that even the Bengal police officials have mentioned in this particular report. You could not even hear the pleas of hundreds of Hindus who are today in Malda area living in relief camps. Go ahead, sir.
Problem is that you parrot BJP's narrative of Hindus and Muslims.
No, I am stating facts, sir. It is very convenient for you to just target the anchor, target the channel, target the media. But you don't want to look at what's happening on the ground.
You promised to not to disturb me.
So then don't target us for no reason.
If you want me to stick to the debate, then
please go ahead and make your point, if at all you have a point to make.
I am raising the question, why I'm targeting us? How can I target? Don't play the victim card like BJP.
Come on, Professor Manojit Mandal, come on. Do you have an answer to the question I asked you?
Come and disturb me.
Okay, last chance. One second. Professor Manojit Mandal, do you have an answer to the question I have asked you?
How can I answer if you come in because you are running the show?
Sir, I'm asking
Right?
you to respond.
This is the way you
Please
conduct
answer.
debate. Is this the way? You are asking me, but you are not giving me time.
So you're not responding.
Fact remains that for 8th and 9th and 11th, I'm not responding. I'm responding. You are coming again. Look at BJP's narrative. Mamata Banerjee should resign. That is their ulterior motive. And look at the number of riots she was mentioning. Because from 2017 onwards, if you look at the graph of BJP's rise in Bengal, that's the time that BJP started rising in Bengal. They rise on the rioting. And that's history for you. See, since late 1980s, see the Babri demolition, BJP rose to power and prominence by rioting only. So fact remains that whenever there would be riot, BJP will come and make political difference because they can't fight Mamata Ji on the issue of development. Look at her schemes, 95 of them. They can't fight her. And I tell you, Ms. Barma, I still respect you because you are a spokesperson of a political party. Please forget this riot politics. Bengal will never allow you. And mark my word, in 2026 you'll come down to below 50. Mark my words on this
You still did not answer my question. Anyways, Professor Manojit Mondal, you still did not answer my question. You very conveniently started targeting the BJP. Well, I mean, this is about the condition of a lot of people who today living as refugees in their own state. So I will come back to you, but let me now go across to my other two guests as well who've been patiently waiting. Sanju, I'll come back to you. Dr. Vikram Singh. Now, in this report, the Bengal police have also mentioned that there was local intelligence. As per the local intelligence, there was possibility of agitational program on 11th of April after Jummah prayer near Sajur Mode under the Suti police station, etc. All these details are mentioned. If there are intelligence inputs like this, shouldn't the police be ready to deal with any kind of a situation? Do you think deliberately police perhaps was not ready to deal with this kind of crowd? Because Mamata Banerjee since the beginning has said it is a pre-planned conspiracy. Law and order is a state subject. There are intelligence inputs coming that something can go awry in Murshidabad, but nothing is done. Whose fault is it, sir?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, since I've handled such problems for the last 40 years or so and being an advisor to various police forces, let me tell you, I would first like to compliment the West Bengal police, a very professional police force in the country, for coming out with an absolute truth. Now you can make out the symptomatic ailment and the horrible fault lines in the policing in West Bengal, that they had all intelligence, they had the force, but they could not act. Just imagine a Glock pistol with 11 rounds snatched from a gazetted officer. No recovery of the pistol as of now. And this is one of the most serious offenses. This is known as mazaimat. And mazaimat should become, the police should have come down like a ton of bricks. You have advanced intelligence. No point in gesticulating, gentlemen. I know what I'm talking about. And then you use what? 142 rubber bullets, 10 tear gas shells, 40 stun shells, and 9 smoke cans. You are actually dealing with kid gloves, whereas you should have come down like a ton of bricks on the jihadi rioters. You did not, and I would feel that the police is under tremendous political pressure not to act. Their own were beaten up with what? You know, with police were beaten with sickles, iron rods, and wooden maces. And if that be the case of provocation, I would compliment for being their forbearance and their patience. But in the right of private defense, they should have used firearms to deter the agitators. And in fact, what they have done, and it is very convenient, all anti-national activities are transnational, and we do expect. UP is immensely larger than any other state in the country. We have people from Pakistan, we have people from Bangladesh, we have people from Sri Lanka. We cannot say that since they are from trans-border criminals, we don't take responsibility. You have a constitutional responsibility to perform, and that is to give a befitting reply to all the anti-national elements, whether from the country or from outside the country. You cannot absolve your responsibility with a customized alibi. I would say a customized alibi. Since they come from outside, I'm not responsible. I have never heard such kinds of nonsensical humbug in my life, and I feel that Sanju Vermaji, it's time to realize that the constitutional machinery has broken down. It is time to come down and take action under the provisions of 355 and 356 of the Constitution of India. And I think I would blame you also for not waking up to the disastrous situation that is working out in West Bengal.
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, can victims of attacks really expect justice if the ruling TMC is still blaming the outsiders, is still sticking to the outsider theory? How will you like to respond to this fact that there was intelligence, there was awareness that something can go wrong, but yet nothing, it seems, was done to prevent violence?
Yeah, Heena, good evening. You see, for the better part of your debate tonight and for the benefit of your viewers who have been watching this debate for the last 20-25 minutes, you see a binary debate was going on in your channel only altogether for the last 20-25 minutes. The same binary politics we from Bengal are witnessing on the ground. One party claims to be the dalal of the Hindus, another party claims to be the dalal of the Muslims. Now there the problem lies out here. Now if a spontaneous protest that happened after the Waqf, or rather I call it a draconian Waqf Amendment Act 2025 was passed, there were protests bound to happen all over the world. Sir, 4,000 to 5,000 people coming together, is it a spontaneous protest? No, 4,000 to 5,000 is smaller number. We have witnessed greater number that in the streets of Calcutta on that day itself.
Okay, so 4,000 to 5,000 people gathering with, things to target people. It's spontaneous. It's nothing big for you. Okay.
Can I complete? There is a difference between the agitators and rioters. As Mr. Singh has said, that why should the police not have fired on the agitators? I beg to differ on that. Of course, our police force must be able to control the rioters by firing at them. But agitators, it's our birthright to agitate against the government if it brings in such a regressive rules, policies and acts that are not detrimental to our liking. But the point is not there. Heena, the basic point that I wanted to, for all those old timers who understand Bengal politics and Murshidabad politics in particular, let me cite you a judgment, inquiry commission of Justice S.C. Deb in June 24, 1988, when there was a violence in Murshidabad district of the same kind that happened when hundreds of Hindu families were made to leave their homes and live in refugee camps out that time. That same Justice S.C. Deb commission even pointed out what was happening, similarity. I was just going through the Deb's commission, Justice Deb's report and today's report, police report. I could find a very airy similarity between the two. For the people who know this, they can fact check me.
No, but what are you trying to say? What is the point that you're trying to make?
Yeah, I'm coming to the point. The basic point is that the rioters that happened in Murshidabad was not because of a build-up on only an Waqf Act. It was a culmination of slow poisoning that was happening in the society from both the sides, the TMC side as well as the BJP side. Both the leaders were seeming to agitate their politics on the basis of communal rhetorics in both the districts.
So you're saying, Malda, Sanju Verma, Kamruzaman Chaudhary saying what happened was not largely because of the Waqf Amendment Act and the anger against the Waqf Amendment Act, but it was the culmination of slow poisoning. How will you like to respond?
Let me make one thing very, very clear. I have a huge amount of respect for Mr. Vikram Singh. We've been on a zillion debates. But what I'm going to say, he may not like it, but this is for a lot of people who even on social media have been asking the BJP, why is it that you don't impose Article 356? Why is it that you're not imposing President's rule? My simple point is this. C.V. Ananda Bose, the governor, has met up with the women folk who were victimized in both Malda and Murshidabad. He has in public domain said, I will be filing a formal report with the Union Home Ministry and also give feedback, which I should be giving to the President of India, Honorable Draupadi Murmu ji. It is only once all the constitutional processes are followed that Draupadi Murmu, based on feedback by C.V. Ananda Bose, will take a decision as to whether President's rule should be imposed or not, given that there has been a supposedly breakdown of constitutional machinery in West Bengal. But I would have been very happy, with no offense to Mr. Vikram Singh, if he had said one line, like he told me, I also blame the BJP. Sir, एक line बोल देते हैं, Mamata Banerjee has failed as the Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee has failed as the Home Minister. Law and order is a state subject. under the 7th schedule of the Constitution. I see people mollycoddling Mamata Banerjee, not willing to call out her incompetence. But
Okay, Vikram Singh, Mr. Vikram Singh wants to respond. Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Verma, with the greatest of respect, thank you very much. But yes, in what I said had the transport, because I'm not a politician and I don't use political lingo. I used words that is befitting of an average Indian citizen. And I would say, when I recommended President's rule, that means then is synonymous to the fact that the entire machinery has failed in West Bengal, and the West Bengal government is been tottering and failed. It has totally one-sided action. The police should have acted in a proactive manner. They failed in that. They seem to be with their hands tied, and they seem to be working absolutely blindfolded. And to esteemed Kamruzaha Sahab Qibla, I would say that agitation is a birthright and a constitutional right only till the time it is peaceful. But if the police force is attacked and murderous assault, there is a right of private defense कि हंगामा गिरफ्तारी में मुनासिब चोट, और मुनासिब चोट is commensurate to the amount of assault. If I am being assaulted, my pistol is being looted, I can shoot to kill. Let us not live in an illusion. And we are empowered within the ambit of law in the right of private defense. I don't know why the Kolkata and the West Bengal police did not move there.
One question for you on that point. When State Chief Minister is saying that outsiders and Bangladeshis are involved, what is the signal that's being sent to the police of the state?
Heena, give me one provision of law which says that if the criminals and assailants are outsiders, I am absolved of my responsibility. Whether the assailants and the rioters are from any part of the planet, it is my job and I pay to do that and ensure that we neutralize them. I don't know what kind of a pearl of wisdom is coming out from Mamataji that since they are outsiders, I cannot hold something. You cannot customize your alibis. Mamataji has customized. Sanju Vermaji, I did say that Mamataji is customizing her alibis, which do not hold any water and are absolutely unconvincing and illogical, to say the least. The law and order machinery has totally broken down in Bengal, and it's time for the centre to intervene.
Okay, time for centre to intervene is what Vikram Singh has said. Sanju Verma, I know you want to respond. Kamruzaman Chaudhary also wants to come into the debate. But before that, Professor Manojit Mondal, as Kamruzaman Chaudhary suggested, so there is history when it comes to Murshidabad. Still, the government wasn't really prepared. Like he said, if you agree with him, that it was a culmination of slow poisoning that has been happening. Why was the government, why was the police not prepared to deal with it?
No, hello, Mr. DG, sir. Did you raise a single question when 53 people were killed in Delhi because of communal riots 5 years ago?
Sir, do you have any answer to the question that I asked you?
Yes, multiple times.
Please,
multiple times.
He will continue to malign my government. Show me 2 videos of what you said in Manipur. And today only in UP, one of your police officers was lying on the bed because of drinking, and people were trying to control his gun. Arey, stop now! You are stop enough. Please don't behave like an unwisely old man. I did not interrupt you.
Come
right?
on, Professor
I understand
Manojit
what you are
Mandal.
trying to say.
Okay, make your point. Make your point, Professor Manojit Mandal.
Did not say a single word about infiltration and. No. I want to call out this DG, very honorable DG. Not a single word on BSA, but he talked about everything about the state government. While infiltration is taking place, you should also haul up the BSA. There should be coordinated action. Not a single word on BSA. What are you talking about? This is a pre-planned narrative. BJP creates a law to polarize people, then create riot-like situation, and then foment trouble, and then politicize for the last 7 days.
But you tell me, Professor Manojit Mandal, let me ask you then what I asked Mr. Vikram Singh. 1 second. If the Chief Minister of the state is saying that Bangladeshis are involved, outsiders are involved, I want to ask you, what is the signal that's going to the police?
Whose responsibility it is to stop infiltration? Whose? Answer the question.
You answer my question. If the cops had intelligence that things can go wrong on a particular day, why were they unprepared to handle the situation?
That's why the cop has taken help. Cop has taken help of the BSF, and the damage was neutralized.
Sanju Verma wants to respond when Vikram Singh. Sanju Verma.
Situation. 53
you
people
know,
were killed.
Heena, okay, Mr. Mondal, we heard you.
Years ago,
Heena,
similar kind of...
Did I
Sanju Verma, go ahead.
Why
We
is
can
Bengal
hear you.
giving this background music? Thank you. Heena, let me make one thing very clear to your audience. There is a Union Home Ministry dossier which was sent to all state governments in 2018 and then another one in 2021, where all state governments were asked to identify potential trespassers from across the Bangladeshi border and inform the Union Home Ministry for proposed necessary action. Mamata Banerjee first mollycoddles Rohingyas, mollycoddles Ghuspetias. When there is a law and order breakdown, क्या करती है Mamata Banerjee? She becomes the judge, the jury, the executioner and blames the BSF. I say stop undermining the credibility of the BSF, the CRPF and the RPF. The second and most important point is this. बार बार कहा जा रहा है slow poison and they are calling Waqf draconian. Waqf was passed in Lok Sabha, Heena, after a 12-hour debate with a majority of 288 to 232. Then the Waqf amendment was debated for 17 long hours in the Rajya Sabha and it was passed with a majority of 128 to 95. Then it went to Honorable President Draupadi Murmu, who gave her approval. Before that, it was passed in the cabinet. So, yahan baitkar, you are undermining the constitutional processes, and then your karta dharta Rahul Gandhi सदन में लाल किताब दिखाकर कहते हैं, ओ लोकतंत्र खतरे में है, गणतंत्र खतरे में है.
Okay.
The Waqf has nothing to do with religion. It is about land grabbing.
Okay, and
we will
Kamru
bring
Zaman
this to
Chaudhary,
fruition.
after the violence, we saw Mamata Banerjee meeting some clerics, imams, and giving them an assurance that, this act will not be implemented in the state of West Bengal. So many people are today living in relief camps. They are victims of violence. Some of the testimonies you heard in the beginning of the show. But Mamata Banerjee did not even find time to go and listen to their pleas, meet these victims of violence. We aren't seeing any outrage whatsoever from other parties of the INDIA bloc also. Where is Rahul Gandhi? Where is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra? Where are all these people? Do these lives not really matter?
Yeah, Heena, it's very surprising, if your cameraman or your reporter does not catch the other party's activities. That's
Did
why I
Rahul
called it
Gandhi
binary.
visit and we missed?
No. Did Narendra Modi visit Manipur?
No. Did Rahul Gandhi visit
please,
Malda
don't
and we missed? The cameras missed?
Don't go into that down that lane. Just answer to my questions.
No, I am asking you a question, sir, because we are not seeing any outrage.
No,
we are
so
reporting the
don't
stories from the ground. We are not seeing any outrage at all.
Listen, Heena, I'm trying to be very calm tonight because people's life are at risk. Hundreds have been displaced from their homes. A communal situation has arisen out there in Malda, and our PCC president from West Bengal, Shubhankar Sarkar, along with a high-level delegation from the AICC, today visited the relief camps in Malda and Murshidabad, emphasized with the victims out there, understood their problems the first hand, and is going to submit a report to the AICC tonight. So it's other matter that the media, which is in a binary mode all the time, 24/7, does not report on Congress's activities. That's your prerogative. But the fact remains
Sir, we
that
have
we are
not
on
seen
the ground.
any tweet coming in from Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi Vadra or the
so we are
senior
waiting-
leaders of the
no, we are
Congress
waiting-
party who have expressed their agitation, protest on a number of issues in the parliament
Heena.
also, outside also, on social media platforms also. But here we've not seen. Anyways, Vikram Singh, sir, I want to ask you, repeatedly we have seen TMC blaming outsiders. Here also on the show, Professor Manojit Mandal held the central government responsible, MHA government responsible for not being able to control the infiltration aspect. I want to ask you, once we have people coming from outside into a particular state, whose job is it to ensure that action is taken? Have we seen anything happening at all in the state of West Bengal? Isn't it government's job to raise hue and cry about it?
Heena, it is a multi-tier job, primarily responsible of the central government. But supposing it's USA, has there been anything fail-proof and foolproof? No country on the planet has been able to do it, not even Israel or even China or America. You can do your very best. And if there is infiltration in case of UP, there have been Houthi terrorists from Bangladesh. There have been LTTE terrorists from Sri Lanka, but all have been neutralized from Pakistan, from Harkatul Ansar, from, Lashkar-e-Taiba. We cannot take the plea and the alibi. Since they have come from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, we cannot do anything. No. It is not for the government, a duly elected government that is sworn by the Constitution of India, to play the helpless card and say and pass on the responsibility with absolute impunity. These excuses are absolutely unacceptable.
Okay.
And
Sanju
to the
Verma.
Honorable Professor, I would say, where ignorance is bliss, it is folly to be wise.
Sanju Verma wants to respond.
Yes. Heena, first and foremost, again, very respectfully to Mr. Vikram Singh, I will say this. The Modi government is not helpless. The Modi government is resolute. The Modi government is driven by determination and political conviction. And I don't think Prime Minister Narendra Modi or Amit Shah, they need lessons in governance from anybody on this panel. Having said that, let me tell you, the primary responsibility, I beg to differ with Mr. Vikram Singh. First, it is the concerned state government that needs to identify the infiltrators and inform the Union Home Ministry when the first step itself is not complied with, not adhered to, which in this case is the West Bengal state government, जो रोहिंग्या और घुसपैठियों को कहती है, आइए हम आपका आदर सत्कार करने के लिए तत्पर हैं. And then when these Rohingyas and when people like Shahjahan Sheikh, who's a Bangladeshi Ghuspetia, who was mollycoddled and protected for 62 days before, on the advice of the Supreme Court, he was arrested. And I need not tell your audience, Shahjahan Sheikh is the perpetrator of the Sandesh Khali gang rape. It is the primary responsibility, sir, of the state government. Union Home Ministry steps in after they get feedback from the state government.
Okay, I want to give last 10 seconds each to my other two guests as well. And I have one question, and I want both of you to respond to that one question in 10 seconds. You know, TMC is still sticking to the theory of outsiders. Of course, we'll deal with that, how outsiders are dealt with, maybe on some other day. But today I want to ask you, because I feel for all these victims of violence who are today away from their homes in Malda district, they are worried about their lives. They want to go back, but there is a lot of fear. So for them tonight, I want to ask you, Kamruzaman Chaudhary and Professor Manojit Mondal, if ruling TMC sticks to this outsider theory even after this report of Bengal police, can these victims expect justice? 10 seconds. Professor Manojit Mondal, then Kamruzaman Chaudhary.
Most of them have come back to their respective homes. Please verify. Few people are there, but they will very soon come back. The police is coordinating with them, but there are politics too with them also. Okay. Like what you did, your NCA, quote-unquote, National Commission of Women, accompanied by 2 BJP leaders. What were they doing? Okay. The BJP leaders, Archana Majumdar and the local MLA, Shirupa Chakraborty Chowdhury, they were accompanying the National Commission of Women. That's the kind of credibility that you have. Okay. And Mr. DG, customized DG, I tell you, internal security is the concern of the central government. Okay. You have to take the state government on board. But the problem is that no central government is not taking the opposition state
10
on
seconds
board.
up. I don't have a lot of time. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, 10 seconds. Same question for you. Then I have to wind up this debate.
No, I don't think so. In Bengal local politics, this outsider theory that you are floating out here in your channel is much of an issue out here. Rather, the issue is demand
I don't think you understood my question. With due respect, sir, my question is, after the Bengal police came out with a report stating certain facts, we had a reaction coming in from Trinamool Congress, which I played at the beginning of my show, wherein they continue to say that it was the outsiders. So I am trying to ask you, sir, if TMC continues to say that outsiders are responsible, can the victims of violence really expect justice when the report itself mentions that local youths were responsible for what happened?
No, absolutely, Heena. There cannot be a scapegoat in the violence that happened in Malda, Murshidabad, citing outsiders or something. But I doubt if there is any issue of an outsider coming in for the reports. My stand out here is it was a spontaneous agitation against the draconian Waqf, which was somehow the other mobilized the youth without a leader leading the protest. That made the entire violence spiral out of control. But the entire onus, or rather the responsibility lies with the state government because its intelligence failed very miserably because it was expected that on that particular day after the Friday namaz, there will be thousands and thousands
So
of
you're
the streets of
agreeing
Bengal
that the state
agitated.
government could not do its job properly. The police also failed to do the job properly despite intelligence, about what could possibly happen on those particular days. And also, viewers, victims are seeking assurances and not blame game at this point in time. And that's the reason why it's important to spare a thought for those victims as well. And they belong to a particular community. That's a fact. And, today they are seeking some kind of assurance from the Chief Minister. Unfortunately, that hasn't really come. We hope it comes in the next few days. Completely out of time. Thank you very much, all of you. Sanju Verma, Dr. Vikram Singh, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, Professor Manojit Mondal. Appreciate all of you for joining us here on this debate. Heading into a short break, we'll be back with lots more. Stay with us.
The NewsHour Special Edition.